Listen, when someone doesn't want to change or grow up or grow out of their toxic ways, they will actually leave a person of value. They will leave a person that actually has standards and go to someone of lesser value, meaning they want to come into the picture and handle you however they want to handle you, talk to you however they want to talk to you, behave however they want to behave, without having someone tell them about themselves, without having someone calling them out on their BS, or trying to get them to improve or be better, or to improve their communication, improve the way they talk to them, improve the way they show love, improve the way they handle them. A lot of people don't want to deal with that, and they want to deal with someone that will allow them to just treat them however they want to treat them and not hold them accountable. A lot of people don't like people that hold them accountable. They just don't. A lot of people haven't evolved. A lot of people haven't self-reflect and self-improve. So it bothers them when they meet somebody that actually hold them to a certain standard. They will leave you for someone that'll just accept their lifestyle and just accept whatever it is that they're doing. So they can be doing many things actually, and they just want somebody that'll be okay with it. And when you're somebody that has standards and you respect yourself and you're not gonna let anybody treat you any kind of way, then you're not someone that they can get over on, and they don't like that. They want to find somebody that's weaker, or that'll just allow them to have whatever lifestyle they want and be okay with it. A lot of people want their cake and eat it too. We've all heard that saying before, and it's very true. A lot of people want their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to have you a certain way towards them, doing certain things, playing this relationship role while they're acting single, whether it's acting single in person, out at clubs, out at bars, or around a bunch of people that they probably shouldn't be around, or acting single online on social media, Instagram. We all know Instagram these days play a big part in relationships not working out. A lot of people want to be able to just do what they want and still have you the way they want to have you. A lot of people are like that, and it's really selfish and it's really toxic. They want you to act like you're in a relationship, but at the same time, they're going to act single. They want you to only talk to them, but at the same time, they're going to talk to multiple people. They want you not to have opposite sex friends, but at the same time, they have opposite sex friends. They may not want you to go out, but they go out. They may not want you to smoke or drink, but they smoke or drink. You get what I'm saying? Like, they may not want you to be around a certain crowd, but they're around a certain crowd. It's like people want to be able to do what they want to do, but then try to tell you that you can't do those same things. And it's actually just not fair. And a lot of people are toxic, and you got to know when somebody's toxic and cut that off. Stop dealing with it, because it's not fair to you, and you're holding yourself back from finding somebody that's better, that you'll connect with a lot more if y'all have the same mindset, the same morals, y'all on the same page, y'all respect each other the same way, y'all show each other the same grace, the same consideration, the same understanding. They don't do things that they wouldn't want you to do, and you don't do things that they wouldn't want you to do, or that you wouldn't want them to do to you, and then they'll treat you the same way. A lot of us just need to find people who move like we move and view things the way we view things to a certain extent. They don't have to agree with everything you agree with, but the basic morals need to be on the same page, and a relationship with them will work a lot smoother. They will leave you for someone that they know can control, that they can control and manipulate, so that they can just live however they want. And they don't want nobody to be able to say nothing about it. They want to be able to manipulate you into thinking what they're doing is okay, into thinking you're overreacting, you're tripping, or you should be allowing them to do whatever they want and not have a say-so about it. You shouldn't hold them to a certain standard. That's why a lot of people choose to date somebody that are weaker, that they can control and manipulate. It's a lot easier for a toxic person to date somebody like that because they get to do exactly what they want, live exactly the way they want, and they won't compromise with you. They won't hear you. They won't hear your voice when you're voicing things like, hey, I don't like when you do this or do that, or I would like for you to treat me this way or to do this or do that. They don't want to hear that. So what they do is they find somebody that is weaker, that is easier to control and manipulate. And you may see that with some people that want to date younger people, or some people that want to date just a certain kind of people. Like you'll know when you see it. Like that's just how some people are, like toxic people. And you gotta realize when some people are toxic, like they're just toxic. They want to date somebody who may have a lower self-esteem, who may not be as sure of themselves, or maybe a little less attractive, because they won't really understand their value. Maybe they want to date somebody that don't really know their value, or don't really understand like the power they hold. And that's just how some toxic people are. And we shouldn't be dealing with toxic people. None of us should. They will want someone that has no standards, and someone that is going to be all about them and is toxic and is like a self-absorbing type attitude, or like entitled type attitude. They want to be the center of the focus, and they don't want the other person to really much have a life, have friends, have family. They want you solely focused on them. I don't know if it's like an ego thing or what, but it's completely toxic and it's unhealthy. And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work out, and you're going to be stressed and you're going to be just not happy with how that relationship is going. They want somebody who's going to be all about them and strictly focus on them and barely has standards too, because they're just sprung off of their looks or off their physical features. That's what some toxic people want. They want you to be like just head over heels over them, while they're treating you any kind of way, talking to you any kind of way, living any kind of way, you putting up with any kind of lifestyle. And it's just toxic, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be with somebody that's going to compromise with you, going to respect you, show you respect, hear you out, hear your voice. You want to make sure you have standards and don't deal with stuff like that. You know, a lot of y'all dealing with stuff like that because somebody looks good, or because they have money, or because they know certain people will have certain connections. Like, that's cool if that's what you want to do. But at the same time, I feel like if that's what you're doing and you know you're doing it, then I shouldn't hear you complain about it. But a lot of people are dealing with that, and it's toxic. There are some people, like some toxic people, that have destroyed relationships with good people because they cannot handle the standards that that person is setting. They can't handle somebody holding them accountable, telling them the truth about themselves, getting them to actually realize that they have bad qualities. They don't, a lot of people don't like that. They don't like when you're that honest with them. They can't handle when you have those kind of standards where you're like, nah, that's not cool. Everybody before you probably allowed it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody before them probably allowed them to do whatever, treat them however, talk however. But then you come along like, hey, no, I'm not cool with that. They're not going to be used to that, and they're not going to like that. Those are toxic people, and they're going to move on from you and destroy a relationship with you because they want somebody that is a lot weaker and that has less standards, so they can just not have to improve as a person. Somebody who don't have standards and don't respect themselves, you can come to them with any kind of attitude, talk to them any kind of way, have any kind of lifestyle, and they're just going to deal with it because they lack standards and value and respect for themselves. And some toxic people want those kind of people that'll just put them in the center of attention, put them as the focus, and not really, you know, stand on their own standards and respect themselves. It's sad, but it's true. They can't handle somebody that stands on principles, that stands on the boundaries and standards that they set, and they not letting up for nobody. A lot of people don't like that at all. They cannot handle that. They don't want to be around that, you know what I mean? They can't handle somebody that got like strong principles. And they would rather deal with somebody that is weaker, that is gonna easily be manipulated and controlled so that they can be toxic like they're used to being. And then they'll say things like, oh, this is just who I am. You trying to change me. Like, no, I'm trying to hold you to a certain standard. I'm trying to get you to improve. I want the best for you. Real love is not allowing somebody to just be, what they are at what they are forever. Real love is trying to get you to improve, trying to get you to see where you fall short and getting you to improve and become better. That's real love. Real love is critical. Like, real love is constructive criticism. That's real love. Like, nah, you should improve your communication. You should improve the way you talk to me. You should improve, like, you know what I'm saying? Be more thoughtful, or, just be more mindful of how you move when it comes to a person. But somebody toxic, they don't want to hear all of that. They feel like, oh, you're changing who I am. No, I'm not changing you. I'm trying to get you to improve as a person. I see potential in you. That's why I'm dealing with you. But you got to see your own potential. You don't want to date somebody or deal with somebody that's just stuck in the same level and they don't want to level up and just improve as a person. Toxic people don't want to improve as a person. They will call it you trying to change me, or that's just who I am. It's not just who you are to talk to me disrespectfully. That's something you can improve as a person. It's not just who you are to not be mindful of how you're treating me. It's not just who you are for you to embarrass me or, make me feel uneasy or make me feel like I can't trust you. Now, that's not just who you are. You flirting with people. Those things you can change and consider when you're dealing with somebody, to respect them and to make them feel valued, respected, seen, heard. That's not just who you are. But toxic people will make you feel that way. But you got to realize them saying that is just a cop-out because they're not ready to mature, and you should move on. That's just simply what it is. When you trying to get somebody to improve or trying to get somebody to self-reflect or communicate better and they feel like that's just who they are and you're trying to change them, it's just a cop-out because they're not ready. They're not ready to mature. They're not as mature as you. They're not as emotionally intelligent. They're not as intellectual, communicative, expressive, understanding as you, and you should move on. You're going to take yourself through hell and back trying to get somebody who is not ready to be ready. You're going to take yourself through hell and back trying to get them to be like you, think like you, move like you, understand things the way you do. They're just not there maturity-wise yet, and you shouldn't stick around trying to fix people or try to improve people that don't want to improve for themselves and fix themselves. You're not saying that people have to be perfect, but some people just don't want to change and mature yet, and some people, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your good years trying to get somebody to change and see things the way you see things, understand things the way you understand things, and you're just wasting your time, and you're only hurting yourself and damaging yourself trying to get this person who ain't ready to be ready, trying to get this person who don't communicate well to communicate well, who don't, show you the things that they show you. Like, yes, you should give some people grace, but after a while, when you're constantly telling somebody something and they're not changing, you should just move on. They're not ready, and that's not your fault or your problem, and you're only gonna hurt yourself sitting around dealing with it. They're just not ready to grow up and get rid of their toxic ways, and it is what it is. You got to think, like, these people probably never had somebody like you that have certain principles and certain standards. So all of these people that they experienced before you, family, friends, relationships, they allowed them to act however, talk however, do whatever, and never held them accountable. So when they meet you and you're somebody that has principles and respect for yourself and value and hold them accountable and trying to get them to see things in a different light and get them to improve as a person, they're not going to like you. They're not going to be ready for you. And it's not your fault or your problem. It is what it is. And you should just move on. Don't never let nobody convince you that you're not enough. Somebody toxic will go through all of that with you trying to get them to improve and see things in a different light, tell you changing them or you got to accept them how they are, that's just who they are. Those toxic people will try to convince you that you're the problem. Like, also, you should self-reflect and realize things you did wrong, But in certain situations, people will really try to convince you that you're the one that's wrong, and they're actually the one that don't communicate well, don't understand things well, they're not mature, and they will make you feel like it's you and you're the problem. Don't let them convince you of that, because it's not even that. They just need somebody weaker that accept their toxicity, and that ain't you. And don't be that person. But they'll try to convince you that it's you, but you just won't accept their toxic ways. And that's good for you. And it's a lonely road, because a lot of people are toxic. And when you have standards and principles, oh, it's a lonely road. But I would prefer to take that lonely road than to deal with people who are toxic and they aren't no good for you and they just not on your level, and you should just move on.